We at the table. It's Saturday, so y'all know what I'm do. A journal out loud. With me, K.Symone, the founder of Shifting Your Atmosphere and the host of Shifting Your Atmosphere podcast, where we talk about all the things that it takes and that we've gone through to shift from the atmosphere that we currently have, that we no longer like, that is no longer working for us, to the one that God has for us by doing what? Showing up for ourselves every day. So today we showed up at journal time. So let's talk about what God wants to give me today for journal time, y'all. So I opened up my Bible, and here I see that it says, what God has for me is for me, right? And it's Isaiah 54:17. So it says, I wrote that on there, but the scripture says, no weapon formed against you will succeed, and you will refute any accusation raised against you in court. This is the heritage of the Lord's servants, and their vindication is from me. This is the Lord's declaration. So yeah, I guess I wrote on the side at some point in life, what God has for me is for me, right? So I started thinking, because we already know no weapon formed against us shall prosper. You know, that's a scripture that you learn early on in your walk in faith, and you know that very well, the original point of view way, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, we don't have no control over how or when the weapons form. All we know is that they won't prosper, and the only thing we actually have control over is how we respond to the weapon. One pastor used to say, I'm always telling God about my problems, but if I told my problems about my God? Now, I still, might hit or miss. And sometimes I be telling God about my problems and I be forgetting to tell my problems about God. But when I'm reading this, I'm like, I can't do nothing about the weapons that are forming. But here I am spiraling out. Here I am crashing out. Here I am worrying. Here I am stressing. I can't do nothing about the weapons that are forming. I can't control when they come, how long they last, or nothing. But what I can control is me. One of my morning affirmations that I say every single morning is, I have full control over how I react in any situation. And did y'all know that any situation can become a weapon? The enemy can use any person, any situation, any object. He can use anything and present it to us and in our life in a way that keep us or hinder us from what it is that we're doing in a positive way or even in a negative way, right? So he can use anything. And again, we have no control over that, but we do have control over ourselves. So I'm sitting over here thinking about earlier this week how I talked about discipline on my podcast, and I talked about how you carry yourself when you're a walking billboard on my TikTok. So when I think about both of those together, plus the scripture, plus the point of view God gave me, I'm like, when a weapon forms, I have a choice over how I respond to the weapon. And did you know that God responds to our response? So forget the weapon altogether, because we know it's not going to prosper anyway, right? You know that, right? It's not going to prosper anyway. It cannot prosper. And all things work together for the good. So even if it look like it's prospering, it might as well just get ready to prosper its way on to being for my good, because that's what God already told me. Everything's working together for my good, as long as I love him. So I'm not worried about that. I know the weapon not going to prosper. I know it's going to work out for my good in the end anyway. So what can I do? What can I control? I control how I respond. And if God is going to respond to how I respond, I'm going to ask y'all the same question I asked myself. How do I want God to respond? How do I want God to respond? So like when the weapons form, if I respond with grace, then God got to respond to me, right? If the weapon form and I respond with love, then God has to respond to me because I responded in love. Even in the same way, but opposite, like I said, a negative way, weapons can form. And if I respond with a hot-headed attitude, anger, revenge, all those kind of things, God also still gonna respond back to me. He's going to use that same method of judgment, because we talk about that. They do also mention that in the Bible, and in things that you learn through our church. You don't judge people because God's going to judge you with that same judgment. So let's apply that here. If I want God to respond in a certain kind of way, and how I respond will trigger God to respond the way that I want him to respond, can I build up enough discipline in how I respond when weapons form so that God can respond to me in the way that I would want him to respond to me? Let's even go to use it for forgiveness. A situation occurs, a weapon forms to destroy a relationship between you and somebody else, right? A situation occurs. How you respond with forgiveness really ain't about them. It's about the fact that you want God to forgive you for whatever you do or whatever mistakes you make. So you make it a discipline in your life and a choice to respond with forgiveness so that God can respond to you with forgiveness. You make it a decision to be disciplined, and to get disciplined, you have to be consistent and work it like a muscle. These practices to make a choice, a conscious choice to say, hey, look, I'm going to respond with grace because I need God's grace. I'm going to respond with mercy because I need God's mercy. I'm going to respond in love because I want God to respond in love towards me. Even in the same way, you know what? They even talk about how God fight our battles, right? He fight for us, so vengeance ain't ours. We don't have to worry about it. We don't got to worry about our get back and none of that, right? Because God fight for us. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm probably finna start responding to my when it come up. They were like, I'm not worried about you. I'm not finna stress. I'm not finna trip. I'm not finna worry. I'm not finna have no anxiety about this. You know why? Because God at it. And try to see if you're going to be him. Try to see if you finna be God. Like, I'm finna respond in a way where it's like, if they be like, you know what? You keep messing with me, I'm going to go get my big brother. I'm going to go get my big sister. Yeah, I'm going to go get my big God. So, you know what? Don't worry about it. Stay right here. Keep on doing what you're doing. Because I'm finna go get my big God. And when he come and handle this, good luck. Good luck. When God come and handle the situation for me, good luck. Because you thought, you was going to beat me up. You thought you was going to wear me out. You thought your whipping was going to ruin me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry your little stuff about it, because my big God got it. He got it. And when you see him about it, then you come back and see me and see if you want to keep on playing around with the weapons, because I'm going to keep building up the discipline. I'm going to keep building the muscle. So I'm going to keep responding the same way. I may not be perfect, but enough times I'm going to keep responding like that either it's going to become like second nature to me to respond the way, to respond the same way, to then trigger God to respond a certain way to come to my defense every single time, or you're going to get tired of doing it. One or the other. So either the devil's going to quit playing with me, or he going to get tired of me calling my daddy, my big God. He going to get tired of me calling him, or he going to quit playing with me, because I'm not finna be living in fear. I'm not going to be afraid to go to sleep because you're bothering my dreams. Like, I'm not going to be afraid to be alone with my own thoughts because my thoughts are wreaking havoc on my life. Like, I'm not going to be afraid of walking in faith. I'm not going to be afraid to walk in purpose. I'm not going to be afraid to do these things. Why? Because God's with me, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And the only thing I need to be worried about is how I respond when the weapons begin to prosper, to then let God know how he can respond right behind me. I want him running up behind me like a mob and get them weapons, so I could just live a soft girl, peaceful life. Because, yeah, I'm done with the stressing. I'm done with the anxiety. I'm done with the depression. I'm done with the sadness or being down in spells for days at a time, or losing myself. I'm not doing none of that no more. So whatever you come at me with your best weapon, because I'm just going to call God. So you might want to size your weapon up when you get ready to bring it for him. Because it's not really for me. Like, if you on the, remember back when we was on the playground, people thought they was going to beat somebody up. You looking at me, my little tiny self, and you like, oh yeah, I'm finna beat you. No, I'm finna go get my big brother. I'm finna go get my big sister, my big cousin. And you see this big old huge person come over, they gonna change their mind now. They don't even want to fight no more. They don't even want to fight no more. So that's how I'm finna start acting. And I don't know what y'all gonna do, but I think y'all start acting like that too. But okay, y'all, that's all I got for journaling today. Y'all let me know in the comments if it makes sense. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all want another episode or another clip elaborating on this. And until next Saturday,